Next up, we've got Pinus coulteri, coulter pine, and it's got this very large cone, not as long as the sugar pine, but probably heavier, and it's very aggressive. This is a very sharp cone, and if I were to throw this at someone, it wouldn't be so pleasant. You could make a nice mace out of it. Yeah. So coulter pine and ponderosa pine, ponderosa on my right here. Difference is, well, the cone firstly, and secondly, ponderosa's got a cat turd shaped bud, as you can see here. But as you can see, the foliage is very long in both of them. They both have facets of 3. Other than cone and the bud, that's all you've really got. The bud on the coulter pine, I don't know if you can see that, is shorter and not as cat turd-like. Stuck a bit of resin on there too.
It's lighter too.
It's lighter.
Coulter.
What's lighter color?
The foliage.
Oh, the foliage. Yeah. So the foliage is, I don't know if that's just from this old specimen, but it seems to be lighter with the specimens we have here. Ponderosa, as you can see, compared to coulter, huge difference. Ponderosa has some prickles on the end of its cone scales, but it's a fraction of the size of coulter. So that's your difference between coulter pine and Pinus ponderosa, ponderosa pine. Our last hard pine here, we've got Scots pine, Pinus sylvestris. I like to identify it with its cones, a very unique cone from the rest of the pines. It opens up from the bottom, almost like a bell bottom, as you can see. And on the surface of the cone scale, there's a cross of these 2 ridges that form there with a point at the end, and it almost forms a shield. I like to think of it as a Scots shield. So that's Pinus sylvestris. Also, like lodgepole and jack pine, it's got fascicles of 2. So be careful of those 3 there. They're fairly similar, but again, the cones are what you're going to separate them with. Yeah. So moving on to the Larix family, we've got the larches here and all this Atlas cedar. Starting off with Larix laricina, Larix laricina, tamarack larch, or just known as tamarack. Okay, so we've got our larches here. So yeah, starting with Larix laricina, tamarack. And the easiest way to identify tamarack, because you can see the larches are all fairly similar. So we've got subalpine and coast, or western larch. And I like to say no bract tamarack. So you look at the cones, and tamarack, you can't see the bract at all. It's got no pubescence. And so the cone is the easiest way to identify it. So no bract tamarack. Check the cone out. You can't see a bract. It's got to be tamarack. So next, we've got what's the scientific? Larix lalellii, subalpine larch. And subalpine larch has got fairly pronounced, well, really pronounced bracts. They extend far. Sorry. Pardon me there. Yeah, it's got long bracts that extends far beyond the cone scales. So, and it's also got pubescence on the buds here. So, one way to remember it is, when you go skiing, you need a hat and you need skis. So the bracts are the skis and the pubescence are the hats. So think hats and skis for subalpine larch. And then our last larch here, we've got western larch, and this is Larix occidentalis, and you can see the bracts extend beyond the scales slightly. It's not nearly as pronounced as in Lelelii, but it doesn't have the pubescence. So with the combination, you should be able to see no pubescence on the western larch, but there is very pronounced pubescence on the subalpine larch. And last up in our section here is Cedrus atlantica. So this is a true cedar, I think our only true cedar. It's got very similar cones to Abies, and they're facing the sky like an Abies, and I believe they're deciduous, but I'm not sure. They're deciduous. So yeah, very similar to Abies. But much tighter cone scales, and it's got these short shoots here with the buds on the end here and the foliage on the ends of these shoots, and it looks similar to what a larch would look flushed. The difference here is that the Atlas cedar has got a kind of bluish, greenish tinge, and it's got much thicker bark on the shoots. Other than that, yeah, the cones are really distinct for the Atlas cedar. So if you're given the cones and the foliage together, you should be able to identify it, no problem. So that wraps up our section on Pinaceae. I hope you've enjoyed, Pinus sylvestris. We've got ponderosa, coulter, lodgepole, Scots, eastern white pine, western white pine, sugar pine, limber pine, and white bark pine. So I hope you'll join us on our third and final section with Abies and the spruces, the other groups there. So that's the end of Gymnosperms 2 with sea bass. Hope you enjoyed it.